Board to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Opens Meeting Act, Governance Code Chapter 551. If you will, join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. You may be seated. Okay, and so first item up on our agenda will be roll call. Ms. Maria Cruz Perez.
Present.
Esteban Cerda.
Present.
Mr. Sean Glovier.
Present.
Ms. Debbie Villa-Gomez.
Here.
Ms. Maria Douglas.
Here.
Ms. Felicia Moody.
Here.
And Mr. Darrell Owens is present, so we are all here present and accounted for. All right, okay. And at this time, we'll move to section 3, where we have any public comments that are on the agenda. Any? No one signed up for questions for any speak on the agenda items. Thank you very much. And is there anyone signed up for comments on non-agenda items? And I see that there's none. That is listed on the sign-up sheet as well. Thank you very much. So then we will go to section 5 for special district recognitions. Mr. G?
Well, it is National State Principal Appreciation Month. We have several of our principals here this evening. So I believe we have several gifts here on the table for them. So we will bring them down one at a time and recognize them real quick. So I will make my way out here. All right. Who do we want to start with? In order here.
She's not here.
All right. So first one.
She's not here.
Spencer.
She's on her way. We had a student that was late.
Okay. All right. And then we have Ms. Ford. We're having a park fiesta somewhere.
All right, now that's the basket.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have this. She's on her way out. Ms. Clark.
Thank you very much.
What are we calling this?
Nacho.
Nacho average principal.
Ms. Clark.
Would you mind staying down here? I'm going to take a picture with my basket.
With your
We want to
basket.
come down and take a group picture?
I think
Okay,
that's
so, yeah, so if y'all will just make your way down, we'll take a group picture.
Bring your basket.
Stay down. And Mr. Rice.
You wait? Dr. Vu, do you want to wait till they get here for it?
Nacho,
I didn't know if they were on.
nacho,
He said the ones that
nacho.
I like it.
And Mr. King. I didn't come up with it.
I was going to say, you can always take another one.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank
All right,
you.
y'all will come down over here and we will,
And if others arrive, let's take another. We'll have this.
do you want to do this again whenever the other ones are here?
She'll
That'd be better?
I
Do
do,
it right.
but let's do
You do
it.
that good.
do one just in case, and then you can take another.
There has to be a prize for being on time.
You want to get your two?
Here, you want to be in it? I'll take it.
Thank you.
Oh, maybe.
Really need to take this picture too.
Okay, step a little this way. There we go. Yep, maybe lower yours a little. Yeah. Perfect. Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't think, people truly realize what goes on daily that you have to process and deal with. So once again, very much appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you for your dedication to our students and to our district. All right, and now we're moving into Paul Awards, I believe.
Yes, 5B Paul Awards.
All right. All right, so at the high school, we have Abel Rico, Allison Booble, Allison Mantel, Andrew Wynn, Angela Bruce, Bethany Long, Carrie Shue, Charles Arnsparger, Chelsea Allison, Christy Vick, Coach Casey, Coach Groff, Coach Johnson, Coach Kruger, Coach Trantham has 2, Daniel Wilcox, Emily Clendenin, Earl Oaktie, Gabrielle Lowu, yeah, there we go. Gary Burkham, Jessica Harris, Julie Naughton has 2, Justin Daniel has 2, Kaylee Bond, Kenneth Jowers, Carrie Allen, Christy Hullett, Kim Hunt, Kim Paget has 2, Lindsay Hammonds, Maestro Stevens has 4, Matt Casey, Matthew Munson, Melissa Springfield, Melissa Bearden, Michelle Fable, Nanette Tate, Rachel Brooks, Stacy Zachary, Tammy Bergier, and Tracy Hadaway. That's the high school. Okay. Do we just have high school?
Yeah.
No, it's
Yep.
the second page.
Second page. Page 10.
Where's my page down at? Why is it not? Oh, there we go. I see it. No, it's not cooperating.
There you go.
The screen's not working. All right. And at Delaney Elementary, we have Amy Johnson, Ashley Arbor, Denise Mikasic, I always mess that up, Emily Paff, Joanne Rowe, Mariella Trochi, and Marissa Sewin. At Patterson Elementary, we have Kim Hamblin, Christy Morrell. At the junior high, we have Araceli Chavez, Coach Wagner, Sherry Mahaney, and Taylor Vaughn. At central office, we have Frankie Bryson, Lisa Walsh, and Dr. Toya Keys. So give everybody remember, these are peer recognition awards. This is coming from people who work with them every day, and the recognition for their service and what they're doing. All right, that's pretty much our awards.
Great. All right. Next, we go to section 6 of our agenda. And okay, the Board of Trustees of the KISD, sorry, where is that? As the consent agenda will be next. All items listed under this subheading will be adopted with one motion unless they're removed from the consent agenda by a trustee for discussion. Were there any items that any trustees wanted to have additional discussion on? And if not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve all items under the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by, gosh.
Mr. Glovier.
Yes, Mr. Glovier, and seconded by Ms. Moody. All in favor, let it be known by the sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That one passed. Awesome. Great. Okay, then we'll go to next section, for section 7. And we'll go to our balanced scorecard information. Mr. G.
All right, so we've been talking about this and said that I would have it to you for this meeting. So going through, looking at the presentation board, goal 1, our goals are the 4 goals that were adopted following the community meetings when the beliefs, mission, vision were all reworked. The goals came out of that. The first goal is we will provide exceptional learning experiences to promote high levels of achievement and post-secondary readiness for all of our students. Previously, previously the performance objectives and the goals were all accepted by the board. The first performance objective of 1.1 is campuses earn at least 1 distinction. The key strategic actions under this, this is a very long document. I don't know that you want me to read through the entire document, but I can kind of touch on some of the highlights. This is all going to be our academics. So goal 1 is focusing solely on our academics. The performance objectives is what we're trying to do. There are, I believe, 4 objectives on this section, on this goal. The key strategic actions are what we are as a district doing. The key strategic actions under 1.1 are the guaranteed and viable curriculum, targeted intervention and acceleration and instructional calibration, and multi-tiered systems of support and attendance monitoring. You've heard most of these things before in our previous discussions. The progress measures that we're looking at how do we guarantee and have a viable curriculum and make sure that things are being done. This is through power walks, and we're having a number per week per administrator, and this number is going to be 12 per week.
We talked about
15. Okay. I don't know. I had 15 on. I put it on the wrong slide. So okay. So it would be 15 per week. Sorry, and we'll adjust those numbers. I wrote down the wrong one. And then our map data, which we have talked about before, our baseline numbers, and increasing that 2% annually. Remember, these first set of progress measures, the outputs, these are what you would call your short-term goals, and on the right-hand side are the long-term measures. These are your lagging. So you have your leading on the left side and your lagging on the right-hand side. Achieving STAR performance. Obviously, STAR is done once a year, so that is why it is a lagging measure. Using map data is 3 times a year where we can sit there and judge what's going on and make comparisons throughout the year as we're adjusting and moving forward. We've also found that the map data shows a very strong correlation with how students do on the STAR testing. So that's 1. So if you'll scroll on down, Brian. Okay, 1.2 is the early progress indicators. This is focusing on our K-3 students, especially with our reading and our math. Social work and counseling intervention, fidelity walks, daily phonics instruction, multi-tiered systems of supports, Tier 3 pull-out, House Bill 4545 tutorials and progress monitoring, PBIS, which is positive-based supports, interventions and supports, targeted intervention and acceleration, professional development. Once again, MAP proficiency, our baselines, the increase of 2% per year, grade 3 STAR performance, because in K through 2, there's no testing for STAR, so it's only for 3rd grade. All right, Brian, if you can scroll on up. 1.3 is the MAP growth. This is the K through 10 students are on track to meet projected growth measures on MAP reading, writing and math and science. Professional learning communities, targeted interventions, a lot of the same things that we talked about in our other areas, continuous special supports for special populations. Once again, MAP data as our leading indicators. Our lagging indicators would once again be STAR data. And then CCMR 1.4, accountability score. Our college readiness, our baselines, and then our college ready number of students who meet TSS requirements exam. Those are our lagging indicators on the right-hand side. Okay. There's a lot of indicators, a lot of things that we're measuring. And then the Lone Star Cup, increase elementary opportunities and involvement in 2 through 5. Academic contest participation. At this time, we do not have elementary, but that is something that I'm looking at adding. If we can't do it with other districts, then doing it amongst ourselves between our 2 elementary schools and creating a contest there. Increasing participation on that annually. The fine arts participation at the elementary, right now, roughly about 35 students per school is the number that I got. I'm not real sure about that baseline number, but we'll verify it and double check. This is a work in progress, and like I said, it's not, it's going to be continuously changing. On the right-hand side, our lagging indicators on this are our Lone Star Cup numbers. And the reason why the ones on the left-hand side, you don't get to they only do Lone Star Cup for the high school. So, you know, that's off of your UIL participation at the high school level. But if you don't have strong foundation at the elementary schools, you're not going to have the participation that you need to be competitive at the high school level whenever they get there. So our goal is to always be in the top 10%, so that's where the numbers on the right-hand side, the top 10% each year, the top decile of the UIL Lone Star Cup standings. It started back in 2014-15 when it was tracked, and it progressed through. This last year, we fell off a little bit. We were tied for 25th, and we were in the top 11% this last year. Our goal for this year is to get back in the top 10, the top decile. And then fine arts at the secondary level. This is, well, scroll up a little bit, Brian. That's secondary there. Increased involvement at the secondary level. Our goal is to sit there and try to increase by, you know, it's kind of hard with athletics because your number of students in your classes shift, especially at the high school level. So saying that you're going to increase participation is really kind of a hard thing to measure. So I don't want to say that we're going to increase by 2% each year because that may or may not happen, but we want to maintain strong programs. We're going to find a better a way to measure that. And then goal 2, we will engage students, families, students, families, and community stakeholders to foster shared responsibility for student success. Performance measure, objective is annual student attendance rates. We're going to monitor this through aligned consistency, monitor and adjust, develop systemic incentive programs, and biweekly attendance reporting. Our goals for the first 6 weeks for this year, for the first 6 weeks, second 6 weeks, third 6 weeks, all the way through are 95% for this year. That's an increase from last year, coming off the COVID year, increasing that 1% each year after that. And on the right-hand side, you see the final percentages mirror that for the lagging indicator, for the attendance for the whole year. And then our graduation rates, 2.2. This is our 4 through 6 years of graduation. Fresh start, the completion rate, I don't have statistics on that yet. I have to get with Mr. Cagle and our high school counselors to get some statistics on what our completion rate for our Fresh Start program is. And the courses that we recovered, once again, I'm going to have to get those numbers. Wildcat Success Center, the completion rate. Right now we've had 24 students who have completed it. As far as percentage and being able to factor in what that percentage needs to be, once again, is going to kind of dictate. But coming off of COVID, those numbers could change. So that's kind of why it's kind of still up in the air there. On the right-hand side, the lagging would be the number of graduates out of the Wildcat Success Center. Once again, I don't know if we want to set a number because you want that number to decrease, but coming off of COVID, it actually may increase. So we're going to have to kind of play that by ear and see how that works. Our systems of PLC processes, number of PLCs that are occurring per month across our campuses, and then the total PLCs for the year. Once we establish our number that we're doing this year, we'll have a good baseline there. And then Tier 1 instruction, course passing rates for our core areas, core subjects, and then the percent failures for the year. Once again, once we establish a good solid baseline, we'll have that, what we want those to be. Talking too fast. All right, surveys. 2.3 is surveys, participation, satisfaction, students, and family engagement. So part of the thing was parent opportunities for meaningful involvement. This is coming off the surveys that we send out to our families, parents at the end of the year. The percentage of parents who perceive that they believe that there are opportunities was 85%. Looking at increasing that 2% annually. And then we're going to get a number of our total volunteers for the year and then work to increase that by 2% each year. And then our next one is authentic classroom engagement. One of the things that we talked about that was vital to authentic classroom engagement is the power walks that our principals will be doing going through the classes. We already said that earlier, so I didn't repeat that here. But also coming off the student survey, we have 75% of the students that said this last year in the last year survey they felt that they were engaged in their classrooms. And then robust processes for ESL, students, families, and communities, percent of families utilizing Parent University, roughly 20%, increasing that 5% annually. And then our parent satisfaction survey, increasing that 2% annually as well. All right, community engagement. This is an area that we have not had a way of measuring, so we're going to be working to try to find ways to measure this and how we have our community involved in our schools and being able to measure all of those. That's why you see the NA. Opportunities for K through 12 students to be involved in extracurricular activities. We kind of touched on this with the UIL earlier. Increasing the number of student activities at elementary campuses. Provide additional enrichment activities for students to participate in monthly. That's either a yes or no, is it happening or is it not happening? And then student survey percentage involved, 86, 89, 92. So that's coming from the students who feel like they are involved or not involved. Goal 3, we will ensure that all students and staff learn and work. I don't see the rest, it's on the next page. In a safe and supportive environment that is responsive to the academic, social, and emotional needs of our stakeholders. So 3.1 is faculty, staff capacity building, professional development plans for all categories of employees. One of my goals is that we have by job descriptions and different levels of our employment, that we have different criteria for our professional developments, and it's mapped out for those people, and that will be, we're still working on developing that. The district PD plan created for the year, that's either a yes or no, and that's something that's a requirement that we have to sit there and bring before the board each year. And the superintendent rounds conducted monthly. I've been pretty dutiful in making sure that that's taking place this year and that those are being done with fidelity. So that's a yes or no. And then the total for the year would be hopefully 10 superintendent rounds per campus per year. So 40 so meetings. And then staff survey, increased satisfaction, staff satisfaction. Short term's not, but we get it once a year, so we're looking at a 5% increase off of our baseline for next year, or this year and next year and then the year after. Same with the participation, increasing the staff participation in the survey. Student, staff, and parent survey perceptions, feeling safe. This is the well-defined safety protocols and procedures, campus safety committees meeting monthly, weekly campus door inspections, are they taking place, yes or no? The number of students participating in the SEL activities monthly, 100%. Right now that's our goal, that's what we have happening in our campuses, and we want to maintain that. On the right-hand side, we have the long lagging indicators, percent increase in participation, 5% per year. District safety committees meeting quarterly. Emergency plans in place, yes or no. Percent feeling safe. This is coming off the surveys, 77% increasing to 82%, increasing to 88% for the parents. For the students, percent 94 to 96 to 98. Whenever you're already at 94, it's kind of hard to increase significant chunks. So staff survey, same. Percent was 95 to 98, and hopefully 100% there. Robust SEL, percentage of students participating, we said 100%, but then incorporating into Tier 1, incorporating that SEL instruction into Tier 1 instruction, and that'll be a yes or a no if it's happening on the campuses. Okay. And then substantiated reports of bullying, increasing the relationship capacity and educational awareness, anonymous bullying reporting systems and responses, percentage of students participating in bullying educational activities monthly K through 8, 100%. Right now, through our SEL programs, Dr. Devlin and her staff are making sure that K through 8 students are participating in monthly bullying activities and awareness. Reports, reducing the number of reports. That baseline was 49, reducing that by 2% over the next 3 years each year. And then staff, discretionary turnover, reducing discretionary turnover is the goal or the objective. Employees recognition incentive monthly, we're either getting it done or we're not doing it, as you saw earlier with our PAW awards, and we have our perfect attendance incentives. We have other things that we're putting in place as well. Our campuses are recognizing employees of the month, I believe, on our certain campuses. I don't know if all campuses are doing it, but certain ones are. And then moving forward from there, and then of course the turnover rate less than 25%. our goal would be less than 25% turnover per year. And then fund balance, maintenance and knowledge of use designation, that's coming off of goal 4, and this was financial. Where the goal is, Brian, I think did it. Brian, can you scroll down so we can see the goal? Okay, for some reason the goal's not on here, but I don't know what happened to it. But basically this is all financial and operational systems in place. So the first one is fund balance maintenance and knowledge of use designation, continuing monitoring of funds. At least 3 months reserve is our measurement. Do we have it more than 3 months? Yes or no? And that's our goal over the next 3 years. 9 million at all times in reserves. Yes or no? Yes, we have it. And that's our goal to maintain it. Designated expenditures projects, monthly monitoring and purchase orders, monthly financial reports. Yes or no? You see those in the board reports every month, so that's pretty much a yes. Expenditures aligned with district mission, vision, goals, and beliefs. What we're spending our money on, I think we're pretty dutiful in what we're doing there, so that's either going to be a yes or a no. And then our balanced budget, compare the adopted budget to the actual budget. Monthly fund analysis, is that taking place, yes or no? You see that once again with our reporting. Unmodified annual audit is our goal at the end of the year. That would be our lagging measure. Do we have an unmodified annual audit? And then revenues and expenditure projection process, including guidelines, monthly monitoring of revenues and expenditures. Once again, monthly financial reporting. Maintain availability and performance of critical network infrastructure, minimizing network downtime, prompt response to work order requests. These are 2 areas that we feel like we're in technology are very crucial. Analyzing statistics monthly. We want less than 2% of our time in our availability of network time in our district that we have downtime. That is our goal that Brian and his team are working towards. And then same thing yearly, over the year, less than a 2% downtime percentage. Prompt response to work orders, percentage of work orders processed within 2 days, greater than 95%. And then next year, 96, and next year, 97%. The yearly average mirrors that the same. Maintenance of facilities planning is developed and monitored. Work order system, percentage of work orders processed within 5 days, over 95% or greater is our goal over the next 3 years. Maintenance, history and replacement schedule developed, it's yes or no. Inventory list created, doors, locks, HVAC, furniture, maintenance equipment, custodial equipment. Do we have those lists created? It's either going to be a yes or a no. And then 4.5, food service fund balance, revenue projection processes, including guidelines, continuous monitoring of funds, 3 months reserves, yes or no. Yes, we have the reserves this year. Will we have it next year? Yes or no. The year after, and then a balanced budget of 1.7 million. Yes, yes or no. Yes, we do have a balanced budget. Excess funds set aside for projects, capital equipment replacement. Once again, the monthly monitoring, the financial report for food service, and that's a yes or a no. And at the end, fund balance designation for capital equipment replacement hasn't been designated for items that need to be replaced. That's a yes or a no. And then expenditures, projections, processes include guidelines, continuous monitoring of the POs and equipment. Sorry, Brian, can you scroll down for a second? I think PM and or replacements, there we go, okay. This is monthly inventory of POs and financial report, once again. And then on the right-hand side, expenditures not to exceed revenues annually, that's a yes or a no. The criteria are monitored monthly and annual reporting to TDA, and that's the Texas Department of Agriculture. Procurement code and conduct updated annually. With the, can you scroll on down, Brian? There we go. Annually financial reporting conducted annually for TDA and TDA. Once again, monthly monitoring of POs and financial reporting. And then on the lagging, comply with procurement procedures, codes for conduct, and financially solvent annually. And the last one is our first rating, maintain an A superior rating and ensure criteria are monitored. Processes are in place to monitor monthly compliance with state and federal law. It's yes or no. And a superior annual rating, yes or no. And that's the goal. And that's our
Scorecard.
scorecard.
Awesome.
All right. And then how we're going to report that out on our website will be through a scorecard that will be on our website right now. Ms. Mode, who is our data fellow, who has been researching, looking at these different ways to present the scorecard. This is just a simple PowerPoint that she put together to sit there and show the ways that we could possibly show our so this is a prototype that she's developing for us, and it's not letting me advance here. There we go. So goal 1 obviously is the same goal that you saw off of the balanced scorecard. So the first one is the fidelity walks. Are we meeting for each campus? Are we meeting that each week? Second is the projected proficiency in math. Are we meeting our requirements there? She showed a lot of different scenarios of ways that the data could be presented. So you're going to see a lot of different graphs and charts. For instance, this one up here is for office STAR data, the projected proficiency for reading of the STAR data, projected proficiency for science, and other type of data or graph. And then we have the early math and early reading, once again showing different ways that we can put that together. We are in current contract negotiations with the company to make sure that we can do this. We have a grant that we're negotiating through that we are going to use to sit there and pay for this software. This is the one that we feel like gives us the best options to sit there and put together what we want to put together. So, and then map growth progress indicators, growth progress for math, reading, science. Once again, different ways to show that by grade level and by percentage. And then goal 2, this is attendance. So 97% was the first 6 weeks. Currently at 95% here. Are we meeting our attendance requirements? It's just another graph, but there are different ways to show that. So, and without going through all the other ones, I mean, goal 3, goal 4, I just give you a quick synopsis of what it's going to look like, and then we will have, for that scorecard, we'll have different areas that each of those goals and those project objectives will be highlighted. Okay.
Awesome. Any comments or questions from any of the other board members regarding the presentation that we just seen? Awesome.
Thank you for letting it be, shared so that people could see that. Can I get a copy as well? A hard copy, please.
I'm still working to finalize some more of it. Like I said, it will constantly be a work in progress.
Right,
it's going to be a living, breathing document, basically, that we're going to have to adjust. One of the things that's taken a while, 1, COVID, 2, because COVID, then we kind of stopped working with the company that we were working with to develop it, and then we were kind of getting back into it. And so the other aspect of it is that when you start looking at it, we're having to move some things around to measure the way we want to be able to measure it. So.
Yeah. But if I just get a copy of what we were presented today, I know it's kind of a living document, that would be fantastic.
Gotcha.
And then that is so fantastic with using the grant to get it up on the website. Do we have sort of a projected date that we will see something?
Hopefully sooner than later. So, I mean, I don't want to say tomorrow, but
No.
I don't want to say like 2 months from now either. I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks we have it.
Okay. Okay, so our goal is kind of the next couple of weeks.
We're going to have to, have some time to work meetings with them to get some negotiations going. So.
Okay, awesome.
And Mr. G, I saw some other board members' heads nodding about getting a copy. Would you mind just sending it out to?
Sure. I'll just
send to everybody. That'd be awesome. All right. Thank you very much.
Y'all are asking for the scorecard?
Yes.
Yeah,
What we just were
okay.
presented.
Okay. And then the dashboard is 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, yes.
Okay.
All right, great. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. G.
Tired.
I'll give you a second to go ahead and get a sip of water there because you were on a roll for a while.
That's good.
All right. Great. So now we get to an even better part, 7B for the campus improvement plans. Back to you, Mr. G.
I'll turn that over to Dr. Vu and our principals.
Okay, great.
I see we have a couple copies. Do we have copies of some of the other ones as well, or just these two?
I think it's just these.
Just
three.
these two.
Those were emailed to you, Teresa.
You should have had the, I thought they were in your board book, I believe.
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
in,
they're in the board book.
they are in the current board book, but I think I saw them on the agenda, and at least for me specifically, asked for them to be printed, because I can't take notes on the computer, and I take notes when we go over these things. So that's okay, I will get them in the future, but I'll use these two, but again, it's just like that scorecard, it's very, I can't take notes, and I always take notes on things, so it just helps me to have them printed in the future, please.
We're gonna start with the campuses this year. We'll go high school and then we'll go down to junior campuses, and I'm gonna follow up with the district improvement plan at the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, first of all, I don't know what I did tonight, I need to go first, so it's a good night. Board, I hadn't been to the last couple of board meetings, so this is feeling different. All new board members, welcome. A couple of things, I do want to start out and go back to where we were in the summer. In the summer, we ended a process at our high school known as the Campus Needs Assessment process, in which we take a look at the different aspects of our school. And from that process, I go back and we developed 3 priorities that we needed to look for and improve upon for 22-23. During that process, we also looked to build upon our strengths, but certainly this post-COVID world, last year was a much different year than any of those I've experienced in education since I've been in. Of course, I said the same for COVID, but we had a post-COVID world. We had a lot of new challenges that we'd never had in Kennedale ISD, or at least at our high school. We saw attendance rates go down. We were seeing new times with employment trends, where it's becoming harder and harder to hire not only hourly employees, but also to hire and retain and keep teachers. And so all of these changes led us to these top 3 priorities that we developed in our campus needs assessment process. So in my presentation tonight, I don't have anything to hand out to you. You've got a copy of my campus improvement, or our campus improvement plan. We did have that looked at here recently at our most recent campus advisory team meeting, and so I want to keep in mind that the document you have now is dynamic, meaning that it will change throughout the year and may be updated at any time. But when we looked at that, we have, I think of probably all the campuses, we probably have one that's more thorough. We have a lot more programs. We have 1/3 of the district students at the high school, and we also have a lot of things with college, career, and military readiness that we need to take into account. So it's very encompassing. We also have athletic programs up here and fine arts programs. So please understand that when you look at that, it is about 150 strategies long. We do align with the 3 board goals that you guys have set out and developed. Under that, we have some objectives, and then we go down to those 150 strategies. We looked at those very carefully. They have changed slightly from last year, but I want to go back to these priorities and talk about how we're going to focus on these 3 things in that plan. The first and the number 1 priority that we said that we must have was the Kennedale High School must improve teacher and employee retention. Because of the current job market, the way that we're going to get stronger is to retain our people, because frankly, it's hard to hire people. And so we need to work at that. And we're going to have to do that by doing the following. We had to look at the concerns employees had with discipline and safety on our campus, by developing more ways to make employees feel valued, and by adopting competitive, I put this in last summer, we needed to, as a district, adopt a competitive salary, stipend, and benefit package for all positions. And I believe that our district leadership did that last part, and it was up to us to do the rest. In our campus improvement plan, and one of the things we've looked at is we truly had to find ways to make our campus a safer and more structured environment post-COVID. We did some trainings this summer with Sean Kane, who did what we call the SEL training. And one of the things we talked with our staff is we really had to go back and focus on basics on our campus. And so if you walk on our campus, we have what's called we have some PBIS goals on our campus improvement plan and some things. Our team of APs did a great job with Dr. Robinson leading the way with that team in developing a comprehensive campus management plan, and that is part of our improvement plan. But in that, we've also done some things that we've tried to standardize on our campus as much as possible. We don't always succeed in everything that we do, but if you walk in, you will see 6 posters that are around that kind of drive some key things that were consistently giving us problems and distracting from instruction, and also disrupting the educational environment. So what you see, I think, as a result of that so far at the 12-week mark is we do have a campus which is much more productive. I think we've got kids back to learning and teachers back to teaching, and it's a great thing. We've had a lot of compliments from some outside visitors that have been on our campus, including the Sean King group, so I'm loving that. In our campus improvement plan also, we had to look at the way we do things. We changed the start time. That is one of the biggest things that I think we've done in quite a while. That's a significant cultural change. Not popular by all. One of the things we were trying to address was some of the things, I'll go here. We said we had lowering attendance rates. I did pull, Ms. Walsh pulled up the attendance rate. We are not back where we were in 18-19 yet, or pre-COVID, but we are significantly up from last year. We were well over 2 percentage points up. So in that improvement plan, as you look at that, notice there's strategies for all of these things, but I want to go back to this number one. We recently added and looked at the teachers that we've been able to hire this year, or that we have, are different than what they used to be. I believe that state average is getting between 60 and 70% of all new teachers are now coming from alternative certified programs. That's a different trend than what you're used to. So it's not only that we're hiring teachers at the high school, especially in our CTE program and our specialty programs. A lot of times we're hiring teachers that are alternatively certified and do not come from College of Education backgrounds. So one of our goals that we established in the campus improvement plan to improve that employee retention is we are going to have to go back. I've got a thing that we had a couple of years ago called the New Teacher Academy, where we did bi-weekly trainings and had them come in and do some things. I will say this, I do appreciate our district's efforts, Dr. Vu and her team. They have done a great job in aligning common trainings for every teacher in Kennedale ISD, so that we know over the last couple of years, if they've been here for 2 years, have this, but our training system has gotten much more aligned and much more rigorous, but we need to do also a better job to specialize with our campus and support them. So we are going to have something called the New Teacher Academy. But so I think when you look at these things, we are striving to do some things and create a more positive environment. How do you make people feel valued? That's hard to do. Well, you guys did a good job. You gave them a raise, so I appreciate that. But that always makes people feel valued. But certainly we've tried to be more positive and things, not only with our faculty, but with our students as well. We've done things, or we are doing things with the PAW. We are really pushing out and trying to give specific praise and recognition to people. And we've got some strategies also in there, including Employee of the Month initiatives and some things that we want to make sure that we continue. But I want everyone in this room to know that that is the #1 thing probably in this district that we need to focus on, is making our employees feel valued and retaining them, because it is very difficult. I still have a teaching position open and still do not have a qualified applicant. And so that's hard to address with our parents and those things. So. But right now, I think if we were to run some surveys and some things, I think our teachers would say they are happier. I've had that feedback. I think Mr. G said he has the superintendent's rounds. He meets with our kids and he meets with our faculty on the second Monday and second Wednesday of every month. And the feedback is much more positive, at least that informal feedback. I don't have anything I can hand you, but we are certainly working on that. I feel like we have a more positive environment there, and I hope we continue. Number 2, we looked at accountability, and it came out, we know that we have slipped from where we were just a few years ago. A few years ago, we were on the cusp of being an A campus. Now we were on the cusp of being between a B and C campus. We were a B campus, but I'm going to say barely. And there's a lot of things. When I look at the last 2 priorities that I had, we've got to increase our college readiness percentages with some things. We are exploring all options. I have a new strategy in there. I'm actually looking at, a couple of years ago, we brought in the on-ramps dual credit program to help our kids get some of those college readiness points and some things. We are looking for a new partner option. I know that I've got looking at Memorial University, who's opened up online courses for $200, and they have a catalog of up to 20 courses available. So technology is bringing us some different options. And then the other part is we're looking for the college readiness. We're giving more options. We've gone from a few years ago when I came to high school 5 years ago, this school did not give the TSI. This campus did not give the SAT. We now have opportunities for our kids. We have PSAT 9, PSAT 10. We have the regular PSAT. We have an SAT school day twice a year, once really in the fall for seniors, once in the spring for juniors, and then we also have this year for the first time we are doing the ACT option school day for the kids. So we are a TSI testing center that is in our campus improvement plan, but all of this is to give Kennedale kids more opportunities to do them on campus, and a lot of those are paid for by the district, some House Bill 3 and some just by our local district. So the other part of that this year, I've got some goals in there that you will see in strategies regarding different curriculum. I do want to mention that in the English department, we look to raise the bar. This is our first year of implementation. And I'm looking at Dr. Vu because I can't remember the name of this. It's what? Study Sync, I'm sorry. The Study Sync curriculum, which I think was purchased right during COVID, or we got in right during COVID, and now we are implementing it fully at our high school campus. And I think we're seeing, at least the kids are giving the feedback, this stuff's hard. Yes, it is, and we are increasing the rigor, and I do appreciate that. So when you look at those goals, they are all designed, whether they are for our core curriculum or supplemental things, to increase college readiness scores. We have even done some things departmentally. In the math department, I know that they actually had some incorporated into lesson plans this year. They were doing some PSAT prep in the math section for the kids. So we are aware that college readiness was a campus need. It was the second biggest need we have on campus. And then finally, when we look at all of our data and we look at our lowest performing group on our campus, it is our emergent bilinguals. That is a group that over my lifetime in Kennedale ISD has gone from 10 to 20 students per year for the 4 grades, and now we have hit 80. We have 80 emergent bilingual students on our campus at this time. That is a significant group. That's 8% of our population, and it was our lowest performing. When you have that many kids and they don't do well, we had to redesign things. We actually split and developed an extra, what we call ESL course, and then we looked at the identification of who's going to be in there. We did some numbers. We just looked at, we wanted to get more kids into that ESL elective, or sometimes it would count for their English course, so I guess it could be an English course or their elective, but we strategically tried to place more kids in that. And so we took every kid that was beginning or intermediate on their TELPAS scores and placed them in that course. We're seeing some great progress from them right now. It looks like, and I think we've got some data to support that, but we hope that they are a group that is much higher performing at the end of the year. This is a group that in Kennedale ISD, just so that you know, it is now at the high school level where this is a significantly large number of groups. I think Dr. Vu's presentation to you last time had the number of languages spoken in the district, and that is shot up. Probably doubled. That number is, I think, doubled. It's in tonight's, but sorry, but it's huge. And so that is the group that we've got to work with the most. But those were the 3 priorities if you are looking for in our campus improvement plan. If you're looking at, did we address the things that we said we had needs in the summer? I believe we did. The last thing that I do want to say is that I want to go back to the thing with safety and some things. I know that Mr. Sproul these guys did their first reunification event. We've had a lot of crazy things going this way, but we also had, I appreciate that team, we had our first TEA intruder audit detection, and they showed up right at lunchtime, and I was going, oh great, this is going to go well. But they actually went through, tried to access our building and looked at our exterior doors. They were all locked. They could not grant access to our building through any doors. And then he checked the interior of our campus, and he looked at the documentation Ms. Tate has done of doing the door sweeps. Every week we've got to look, and and we go by and rattle every door. Getting that list alone in that building is difficult, but that takes a big part of their time. But she pulled her laptop out, and he flipped, tab, 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 tab. We were all good. So anyway, we passed that audit with no findings or issues to report. And that's going to go to the superintendent.
That's very good.
Good job. I appreciate the security team. But that is part of us making and retaining employees, is keeping them safe and our kids. So anyway, any questions?
Nope. Any questions? Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Cagle.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't know whose idea it was to have Cagle go first, but thank you. It's all downhill from here. So, looking back on when we look at our campus improvement plan, some of the things that I felt that we had last year that were some strengths were that 96% of our students taking the Algebra 1 exam passed. 3 groups that were our target performance in reading, our white, echo disc, and sped kids met their target performance. 93% of the KGH staff members stated they felt respected on our campus. Our campus is very diverse and mirrors our student population. 83% of the parents state that KJH has a positive learning environment. And then we also got Avid on our campus, which I'm so excited about. It's something that I've talked to Dr. Vu about for a while, and we finally pulled the trigger, and it's on our campus. And hopefully it expands from 6th grade, 7th grade, up to 8th grade, and maybe up to the high school. So we're very excited about that. Some of the challenges that we had to overcome last year, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this pipe that burst at Arthur.
That little thing.
Which was a big challenge because we knew that 6th grade was coming, but it pushed up the timeline. And luckily we were prepared, we were ready for them. So the transition was seamless, or as seamless as possible. But I think that helped, and it also gave us the opportunity to kind of see where some holes were in our systems when they did show up. We're like, okay, for next year, we need to make sure that these things are shored up. And then also, I think that one of the challenges that our campus overcame was discipline. Our numbers continue to drop. We're being very purposeful with how we do our discipline. Some of the challenges that I anticipate in the coming year is that we have a lot of new staff on our campus, and with new staff comes new ways of doing things. We have staff that need to learn the Kennedale way, or staff that are not familiar with Fundamental 5, and so they need to know what that's about. Staff who haven't used DMAC, just the different systems that we have on our campus and in our district that new staff needs to know. I also anticipate that discipline will still be something that we have to address. Discipline for 6th graders, it's more elementary, is totally different than what it looks like in junior high, so just kind of getting them acclimated to that. And then all the things that come with the new grade level, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is how we do things, and oh, 6th grade is here. So we have to always think about what that new grade level requires that's different from all of our other grade levels that we haven't had. So, looking ahead, we'll take a look at one of the first performance objective, which is KJHS will prepare all students to meet or exceed grade level expectations for learning by providing a guaranteed and viable curriculum, aligned assessment, and aligned instructional resources across all content areas. The way that we're going to address that is the campus administrators will monitor the continued use of district curriculum as well as model instructional lessons and strategies, and we'll do that through Fundamental 5, Lead Forward, STEM Scopes, Springboard, and Carnegie Learning. Another strategy is that campus administrators will have weekly PLCs to discuss and ensure that instructional structures are being used. And we do our PLCs twice a week, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's with all of our core teachers. So during PLCs, you ask the 4 PLC questions, you look at your data, and you look to see if students are making the progress that you want them to make. All right, and we'll also, and then looking at that, we'll also continue to use data systems to track all students, discipline, attendance, and interventions, and the data that is regularly reviewed to identify trends and adapt accordingly. So we have a spreadsheet that has all of our students on there, and we look to see what trends we see, if it's discipline, if it's that students are struggling in certain areas, in certain classrooms. We want to look and see what the bigger picture is for all of our kids. All right, and then another strategy that we'll be using is that we will use the MTSS data tracker to monitor interventions for students who are struggling academically and behaviorally. And the MTSS is the multi-tiered student support systems. All right, and communication is a goal that we're really pushing for this year. Our faculty and staff will use multiple and appropriate modes of communication to encourage stakeholders, input and participation in the educational process. With that, that's the newsletters that go home. We're pushing out our team newsletters and just constantly communicating with our parents to make sure that they understand what's going on in our building. Also gives the opportunity for parents to participate in the life of our school, and by doing that, we'll have at least 2 academic nights to help teachers and families partner to help students succeed academically. One of the conversations that we had is that, I don't know if any of you have ever done painting with a twist. We want to do the painting without the twist. Maybe painting with a pop is what we're kind of looking at. Don't add that twist. But that's something that we've looked at doing. Our English department is talking about like maybe doing a Starbucks night where they can have kids recite poetry, kind of do a poetry slam. We have a creative writing teacher that our students have some fantastic work. So those are some things that they'll also be looking at doing just to bring the families in and participate in the life of our school. We'll also continue to collaborate with families and community members to develop programs and services that support academic, physical, social, and emotional well-being of all of our students. And by doing that, we'll have our campus-wide program to proactively teach mental health and wellness to our students. We do an SEL lesson on Fridays, and now that we have 2 counselors, we're able to actually do guidance lessons in the classrooms, which we didn't have that opportunity to do last year because we only had 1 counselor, and that's a lot of work. But they're actually going into the classrooms, which is also awesome. And then students who struggle with issues outside the realm of school will be referred to our community schools social worker, who Ms. Tovar is phenomenal on our campus. She has been very present and very purposeful with the students that she has selected to go into her program, and we're seeing great results. They're there to help give access to things that schools don't normally have access to, so she's been very instrumental in getting help for our families. And that could be resources for food, it could be resources for clothing, resources for homes. All right, and then moving forward, the professional development that I felt that would be very important, as what Kegel said, ESL strategies with the influx of our emerging bilingual students. We have seen a lot in just this year alone. The population is increasing, and so I know that hasn't traditionally been a big deal for Kennedale, but that trend is going higher and higher each year, and having the ability for our teachers to learn the best ways to teach students who might struggle with learning the English language. Also, being that we're now an Avid campus, Avid strategies for all of our teachers. We do have our Avid teachers who do trainings with the teachers, but I would love to have a department go to the Avid Summer Institute training each year and have them participate in that. It's helping them grow because they have specific trainings for, if it's science or if it's English, that I think would be phenomenal for our campus to go to. And then also social emotional learning, I think is going to be instrumental with the professional development of our teachers. We have kids, especially coming through COVID, they're dealing with a lot of trauma and who don't know how to self-regulate as much. And so I think that learning those strategies with social emotional work will be great for our campus as well. Resources that we would use, of course, the district has done a phenomenal job of supplying our curriculum, and then of course Title I funding to help pay for it. So that we need. That's it. Any questions?
Question, guys? All right, thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd first like to say I am very excited to be back at Patterson. We've had a great start to the new year. Of course, Mrs. Poor was able to start the year with me, and I'm excited about working with her in a new way, our new adventure together. So I'm very excited about that. I have Miss Rachel Parker, who's our administrative intern, who's been working at Patterson and doing a fabulous job. She's jumped in with both feet and just got to work. She's doing really a great job. So I appreciate it. Just a little summary of our campus improvement plan. Some of the things we are excited about is that the campus received a B rating and a distinction this last year with our 3rd and 4th grade STAR scores, so that was very exciting. On the staff survey last year, the teachers reported working actively to cultivate a sense of community on the campus, and I think that is definitely a strength at Patterson. It is amazing to see how the teachers work together, and we have several new teachers that have already just gelled and come together as a community on campus, and I definitely think that's a strength at Patterson. We've had some awesome professional development on research-based strategies and all of our new instructional materials. We've had training through Lead Forward, STEM Scopes, Ponca Centinel. We are also providing some guided reading training, and I really appreciate Dr. Vu and Ms. Holding and their team for all of their support. Our teachers go to the curriculum toolkit online, and there's so many resources there, and so I really appreciate all that support. One of the things that we really are focusing on are the instruction in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. Last year there was minimal math growth for the 1st and 2nd graders, and so we are paying close attention to that and seeing what we need to do to increase that Tier 1 instruction and make sure they make good progress this year. Another thing that we implemented at Arthur that I really want to carry over to Patterson is students tracking their own data. And it's a new idea for some at Patterson, but for others it's not. 4th grade picked it up, ran with it, and then 3rd grade saw they were doing it, so they had to come up with their way to track data. And then for the other grade levels where it's more of a new idea, we may try something a little more broad, like a student scorecard, where students are tracking things across time, like MAP scores, report card grades, interim scores. But still, everyone starting to get in the routine of tracking their own data. And then in the surveys last spring, parents and students reported high rates of bullying. And so we've implemented a school-wide PBIS system that we review every single morning. What's it look like in the classroom? What does it look like in the hallway? What does it look like in the cafeteria? And it's very specific instructions on how students are to behave in the different areas of the campus. And also SEL circles in the morning. Every homeroom has a circle time, and that's, we're really seeing the benefits of that also. So in our plan, specifically, some of the things that we are going to do are for goal 1, we're going to continue to use instructional materials that are aligned with the TEKS, including Letterland Phonics, Haggerty, Fontes Impanel, STEM Scopes Math, STEM Scopes Science. All of these things support our quality instruction. So teachers really have awesome curriculum materials to use in the classroom. And then also, like I mentioned before, Patterson students will track their own progress by reporting their data on an individual scorecard. To work on goal 3, we are continuing to use our R&R room, where we train students on de-escalation strategies when they start to get frustrated. And so a lot of good work goes on in that R&R room. Some students have their own behavior goals that they're tracking, but they are taught lots of strategies to be able to calm themselves down when they get upset. Also for goal 3, we, like I mentioned before, we are working off of a PBIS Pride matrix, and they outline the matrix outlines the behavior expectations in all areas of the school. And like I said, I pick one of those each morning to go over on the announcements. And so sometimes I throw a little fundamental 5 in there and ask students to turn and talk and tell your neighbor what the hallway expectations are. But we are not, we're going to continue talking about that every single day. We're not going to stop. And so we have posters that are around the school in every classroom, and so we really hit that hard, and I think you can see a good difference, a big difference. So moving forward, professional development. We want to help support the professional development that teachers have already received. So our FP teachers will share out experiences they've had using the instructional strategies and materials during staff meetings. So really spotlighting teachers and letting them bring to the staff and faculty the things they're doing in the classroom and sharing those ideas with other staff members. We go around and take pictures of the students using instructional strategies and the materials that the teachers have received professional development on, and I put those in my Monday message to the teachers every week. And then if you follow our Facebook page, you'll know always great pictures of what's going on in the classroom. So we are going to continue to use walkthrough documentation to determine how much of the various instructional materials are being used. We're also tracking Fundamental 5, the Fundamental 5 techniques. So we go through and mark which area of Fundamental 5 we see in the classroom. And then each week I calculate a percentage, and so then I can report back to the teachers and say, this week 75% of the teachers were in the power zone when we did walkthroughs this week. And so I think that's really good data to keep up with. And I believe that is it. We don't really need any additional support from the curriculum department or the administration building, because they provided us so much already. But I think they all know that if I need something, I will reach out and ask. Do y'all have any questions about our plan?
Questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. I did start the year at Patterson as the assistant principal, and I've I've been granted the opportunity to be the interim principal at Delaney for the remainder of the year. So it's almost like Ms. Clark said, going back to Patterson was a blessing for her, and going back to Delaney, since I taught there for 12 years, is kind of my home away from home. So I appreciate the opportunity that you have given me. I did take a lot of things that Ms. Flores had already had in the campus improvement plan, and with Mr. Lumen's help and Ms. Flores had already provided some information, I did kind of add my own little touch to everything. So I wanted to recognize our campus did receive a distinction in academic achievement in math. We had increased in some areas with the percentages of approaches, meets, and masters in reading and math. Our staff is very experienced with almost 58% have over 11 years of experience. The surveys report that Delaney has a very positive culture, and then we're building on all the district adopted materials that we have been granted, the same as Patterson, the STEM Scopes Math and Science, the Fontes and Pinnell, the interactive read alouds, the guided reading, and working towards daily 5 and lead forward strategies with our staff also. Some of the goals that we have that I just would like to highlight is bringing that piece to the campus where the students are able to report their own data. I know that it's going to be new to them, but I would like to roll that out on just a very small scale where they take one data point and they're able to mark it and then kind of make themselves a goal of where they want to be next time and then chart it that way. Very slow steps, but I do want to get that rolling on our campus also. We have some teachers are very fluid in data binders and keeping all their data in one location, so they bring it to meetings and they're able to open it up and spew all that data out and have it right there at their fingertips, where other teachers are very new. It's a new concept. So I'm just going to approach it as, let's just try it, put something in a binder, let's get started, and then hopefully as time goes on, then we're able to put very specific things in there to so that all of our information's in one location. The teachers will deliver aligned instruction with research-based instructional materials that we already have with Letterland and Haggerty and Fontes and Pinnell and all those other programs that we have been blessed with. We are going to meet as a faculty once a month with a faculty meeting, and I'm not going to start it immediately, but in January I hope to do the Employee of the Month also, like the other campuses are already doing. The leadership meetings will happen with the grade level leaders, and we're going to be coming up with some things with that. And similar to KHS, the new teachers academy that the high school is doing, I'm going to do something very similar because we do have a lot of new teachers also on campus, and I want to be able to stay after school with them one day a month and offer that assistance if they need help putting information in DMAC for the AI plans or anything like that, or just how to put in a technology order or maintenance order, anything like that. I want to be able to be available to them, and I stay after school and help them, guide them through that step by step. Staff and students will plan and participate activities with Patterson. We already have, the last one was the fall festival that we did with the whole district, which I think was absolutely amazing turnout, and it was great for everyone. I just thought it was neat to see the community come together. But also we have planned the Bunny Hop and then the Camp Grady Spruce. We are taking 5th graders from both campus to Camp Grady Spruce. So start integrating those. I talk to Ms. Clark just about every day, running things by her and making sure that we are on the same page so that the community sees that we're one district instead of 2 different schools. So that's really the goal that we're working towards. And there's some other things in the works. I just didn't want to list them because it's just being talked about right now. But I think you're going to see some other things, great things come out of that. We also have, we have started our JFD Wildcat Ambassadors, which is very similar to what you would think as student council or something like that. Students who are 5th graders who are going to be helping us greet kids at the door and do the food drives and things like that. So they're going to be an active part of that. And then we started this morning, Miss Enlow started choir, and she had over 100 kids show up at school early this morning to participate in her choir program. So that's exciting that that is coming back after COVID took that away from us, and now we're able to bring all those fun things back for the students. So I'm excited to announce that. We're also starting, I know that it was, Ms. Flores had started the PBIS system, and I'm going to continue that with the campus. And we're just starting in the main locations. And when I say main locations, I'm just saying the hallways, the restrooms, the cafeteria, and then in the gym with the assemblies. How do we act, what do we do, and things like that. Just get us across all equal on the same page so that we, the students know the expectation, the teachers know the expectation, and then we can move forward. In the classroom, we're gonna focus more on the CHAMPS model, where it's a common system for classroom behavior, but it's a positive system. The expectations for the academic activities are all laid out of how does the student ask for help? How does the student control themselves from going from one activity to the other, and it's all laid out. So our teachers are already using the CHAMP system. So we're gonna continue doing that in the classroom. Moving forward, we are going to have learning opportunities monthly for teachers to attend after school to get those step-by-step, whatever it might be. I don't know exactly the way I'm gonna approach it at the beginning, other than just sending out a survey on all the different things and how comfortable do you feel with these programs. And so I can get some data on that, and then I can start presenting to the staff who needs it to be able to stay after school and do that. And then Ms. Jeremy is coming on Technology Tuesdays to help our staff. He meets with our PLCs once a month on Tuesdays to help them through the programs if they have questions, or he introduces new programs or updates to programs, and so that was really neat to see. He was there a couple of weeks ago. We are also doing the power walk with that the district has provided, where we go into classrooms and we're able to see the great things that teachers are doing and chart that information so that we can show them the percentages that we are seeing with the Fundamental 5 and the Sean Kane activities. That's everything. That's fast and furious. Any questions? Thank you.
All right,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you.
Sorry I missed the fun excitement at the beginning. Before I even begin about the opportunity that we have with the Early Learning Center, over the past 2 days, I have seen the Kennedale way in the most beautiful way, and that is through our safety and security. So with our first reunification, there are a lot of people in here who need a prop and a shout out for their hard work. Even in the midst of doing what we were calling a dress rehearsal, we had the incident in the neighborhood, and to see Mr. Cagle and his administrative staff jump in and handle it so beautifully without any rigmarole, I mean, we'll just pretend that there was, but, and the fact, I knew my son was in that building, and I never once was like, hey, Sproul, can you find my kid? And that feeling of my baby is safe, speaks leaps and bounds about what we as administrators strive to do, but what the high school administrators have done. And then with our reunification drill today, being able to come back and get feedback for the best ways in which we can make sure that every Kennedale student, staff, and community member that is on our campus is safe at all times, is hands down to Mr. Sproul. So thank you for heading that up, Mr. Sproul. Like I said, my baby's safe. I feel that he's safe. And what mom wouldn't want anything else than that. So with that, I get to take all the little ones. Wonderful opportunity to begin aligning both campuses. Well, I say we're down one campus. Even though we're in two places, we have so much collaboration going on between the pre-K, kinder, and first grade teachers, down to the fact that they have decided they want to go on the same field trips. They want to be able to have those same experiences. So Patterson kindergarten or first graders went to Country Critters Farm, and first grade at Delaney goes on Tuesday. They were able to see for the first time farm to table opportunities. So The root of what we want for the Early Learning Center is hands-on active explorative experiences, and I got to see first graders doing that. So if we can do it for pre-K, we can most definitely do it for the first graders and give them that opportunity for that background knowledge. The greatest part about this is I don't have an improvement plan. We're already starting off with greatness. So because of the work that Ms. Flores did last year and that Mrs. Clark continues to do at Patterson, and with our new APs and our AP interns, and now Mrs. Poor, they already have such a solid foundation. So I get the opportunity to spend about 2.5 days each week on each elementary campus. We have gone through have fully embraced Dr. Vu's vision of a district-aligned curriculum scope and sequence because I see it. I get to be in both places. It's not just words. They're doing the same activities. I can go from one on one day, and then I can see that half of the classes is able to participate in those. And being able to see that in the emergent bilingual and the bilingual classes at Delaney, and then also my special education cohorts over at Patterson is a really wonderful opportunity to see that everyone is getting that equitable and curriculum opportunities. We are introducing I don't know, my pre-K teachers might be so excited, maybe not as much as I am, for on November the 8th, our Workday PLC Day, how we are going to calibrate any lessons and activities. So they have been challenged to bring two, one ELAR and one math, hands-on experience, and we are going to take it down and see that where it lines up with the rigor of being contextually, where it lines up with the content, and then how rigorous are we challenging our students to be at such an early age. So we have the opportunity to do that, and it's an eye-opening experience when you bring your own work in, but then just an opportunity for them to see what their peers are doing as well. I know that both kindergarten sections on both of the campuses are able to collaborate from the standpoint they were doing the same science experiments because they were sharing. So I know that it's going to be really, really incredible, and it already does feel like a family, but when we're actually all in one home, it's going to be an amazing thing. We've already been able to piggyback off what Patterson and Delaney are providing for the community and for families, by having a family literacy breakfast last Friday. We had a great turnout. QT donated probably like 600 donuts, and so the teachers were fed well afterwards. But seeing the parents come in and read to their children and be excited about that and be back in the room, but then participating in an active hands-on activity they could take home and a memory was great. Both campuses are also bringing the family into the classroom through monthly projects, whether it be they create something at home or they have an opportunity to turn and share. Mrs. Flores was awesome enough to do training on both campuses this summer on relation-based practices. And so starting the day, building that safety and security net is the best thing that we can do for our emergent bilingual learners, so that they feel that their voice is just as equal and as powerful. We know that the person doing the talking is the one that's doing the learning. And so seeing them come out of their shell so quickly is amazing. In pre-K classes, I've also implemented part of a conscious discipline where we are able to send well wishes and notice the friends, because we're so egocentric in this day and age, that our pre-K babies are able to say, hey, my friend's not here, and then we can send them well wishes. Or someone comes in and they're not quite feeling like they're rocking it that day. Hey, what can we do so that when we check back in with you, you feel a little bit better? And then coming back and being intentional about trying that. As intentional as we are with SEL, we are also with our phonics instruction. In pre-K, we are doing Letterland, and I love it. You will see so many costumes tomorrow in both pre-K and kinder of our Letterland characters. So Quarrelsome Queen and Munchie Mike will be making an appearance. Annie Apple, so get ready. It will be a wonderful opportunity to see our curriculum being put to life and embraced by our families and the community as well. Haggerty is a wonderful, wonderful phonological awareness and phonemic awareness program that Kinder and First is using. Next year, I didn't get on the board fast enough to get it for pre-K, that was my bad, but being able to see them learn the hand motions and be able to take and break apart a word, but then implement that when they're doing their own personal work, you see it has power, and it's a a great thing to see. So like I said, I don't have an improvement plan. I just get to tell you about all the excitement that we have right now, and am grateful for the opportunity to continue to be a Wildcat. So thank you. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been sitting for a while. I think, maybe we need to take a 5-minute health break.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good deal. So before you get up, Dr. Vu, why don't we go ahead and let's take a 5-minute health break, so we'll return at 7:35. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And thank you for your patience, everyone. Dr. Vu.
Good evening.
Good
You've
evening.
had the opportunity to hear from all of the principals. You've had the opportunity to hear about the great things that are happening on the campuses. This is continuing the conversation that we started last month, where we presented the student achievement data and we talked about different things. And the question was, but what are you doing? And you got to hear a little bit about that tonight. What I'm going to do now is present what we are doing at the district level to address the identified challenges that were uncovered during our comprehensive needs assessment. So just a little bit of background so that we're on the same page. Texas Education Code requires that the board ensure that we have an improvement plan for each campus as well as the district that focus on improving the performance of all students. Here's the board policy. I'm going to point this out later, but what it says in the last sentence of the first paragraph is that the district, the board, will approve the performance objectives. So while we're talking about the strategies tonight, when you're looking at the plan, what the board actually approves is the performance objectives. So that's just an important piece. We certainly want you to know about them and hear about them, but next month when you're asked to approve it, you're certainly looking at the goals. So the purpose of both the campus and district improvement plans is to outline our goals. What makes a school good and how do we measure it? And so with that, we always start with a comprehensive needs assessment. The comprehensive needs assessment, also known as the CNA, is an analysis of needs. We use multiple forms of data. We bring a committee of staff, parents, and community stakeholders from across the district to identify the challenges, root causes, and prioritize future action. The results are used to develop the plans that are being presented to you tonight. So just a brief overview of the comprehensive needs assessment. You got to hear about the student achievement data, but there are 4 key areas that are addressed in our plan. This is demographics at a glance. It comes up quite a bit, and so I wanted to share this with you. What you can see is 2018-19 is on the far right. So we had about a little over 3,000 students, and we've had a steady decline since then. This is where we stand as of October 27th. This is uploaded from our PEMS data. Here's where we stand today. So currently we have 2,833 students. And then these are, we have 200 teachers, and then our average discipline, about 3.2% of our student body has participated. This is what Mr. Cagle mentioned earlier. These are all the languages of the families in Kennedale ISD. And so I'm going to talk about some of the strengths of our demographic makeup, and a lot of that has to do with the rich, diverse cultures that make up the students who attend our campuses. Primarily, our emergent bilingual students speak Spanish and Vietnamese. So I pulled this in because this is another question that comes up often. So if you see on the far left, here is the ethnic distribution from 2018-19. This comes from the taper, but I think that the pie chart is helpful when you're looking at it. So you can see the different groups at the bottom, and then on the far right is as of yesterday in Kennedale ISD. And then I also brought this to you. This is our percentage of economically disadvantaged population. So you can see in 18-19, as a district, we were 44.3%. And as of yesterday, as a district, we were about 9 points higher than that. And I just looked at it because I thought you might wonder, because we have two campuses. Our Patterson is at 55%, and Delaney is at 59.7% as of yesterday. I think you're smiling because you knew it. Yeah, I knew that you'd ask. I'm getting better at this. I should have said that. So in terms of the 4 key areas, the first one is demographics. This identified strengths, and again, this happened during a comprehensive needs assessment that happened last spring, made up of a committee of stakeholders, parents, staff members, community members. We have diverse student population. If you saw that what's very rare in a school district, and what I am so proud of and what I really appreciate about Kennedale, is that there's not a dominant group. It's very close, at 30%, you know, and 30% of the 3 African American, white, and Hispanic. And that's great because there's so much richness that comes to classrooms. There's not a single population that outweighs the other, and that was noticed and that was identified and discussed within the committee. We have a decrease in the total number of disciplinary removals, that's ISS, OSS, and DAP since 2018-19, and our student-teacher ratio, our class sizes, are below the state average. These are some of the things that we talked about last month, but just to highlight a few pieces of these. We have an increase of 20% across the board of students who met grade level on the STAR from last year to this year. Certainly we have so much more ground to gain, but we have made significant improvements. We have the science test, that was something that exceeded, those scores across the board exceeded those of the region and the state. And then the percentage of GT students meeting grade level performance has reached pre-pandemic levels, which we are happy to see that as well. Programs and processes, this was a different committee. What was identified by the committee as strengths of our district? We have a comprehensive resource hub for teachers. We have a comprehensive curriculum toolkit that provides all kinds of resources organized by the 4 PLC questions. We have high quality instructional resources available to every grade level across every content area, core content area. We have an aligned assessment so that we can measure growth from year to year, which is something that we didn't have before and something that is proving to be quite helpful. We have professional learning aligned with identified needs, and we have implemented the MTSS framework, which is includes RTI, which some of you may be familiar with, but there's also the social emotional behavior component. So we're really seeking to meet the needs of the whole child. Perceptions primarily came from the survey data. We surveyed the students, the parents, and the staff. Some of our strengths include an experienced, diverse staff, ongoing professional development for new curriculum resources. We're purchasing the resources, we're also providing training on them, a comprehensive benefits program, and there were lots of people who are in support of 2 spring breaks. I know. Yes. So when that conversation comes up, it's a bullet point here. File it away.
Okay.
Our priorities for 22-23 at the district level include a guaranteed and viable curriculum. Guaranteed, everybody gets it. We don't play the teacher lottery. No matter what teacher you have, every child has access to grade level standards. Viable meaning we protect instructional time. We make sure that the amount of material that must be taught, we have time to teach it. We have rigorous and aligned Tier 1 instruction, as well as a monitoring and accountability system. We have additional support for students in special populations, specifically emergent bilingual and special education. Our data DIG revealed a need for that, as well as stronger homeschool partnerships. So I showed this to you earlier, but what you're looking at in terms of approving for next month is the performance objectives. But today I'm sharing more about the strategy so that you can know the what is the performance objectives. This is what we're doing, what the strategies that I'm going to talk about tonight and has been shared tonight is the how. How are we going to do that? So just an overview, you have the goals. You've heard those recited 5 different times tonight, so I am going to move past those and go specifically to the performance objectives. So what you can think of is the goals are overall, long-term, these are the things that we want to do.
The performance objectives are also goals, but they're annual goals. So if we do A, B, C, we can get to Z by 2026. And so that's what you're looking at. The goals typically remain the same 3 to 5 years, and then the performance objectives, they are reviewed and revised annually. Here are the goals that you've heard about tonight. And so something I mentioned last year, but I'm going to say again, is capacity building is to accountability what finance is to accounting. Finance is how people organize and invest assets. If you have accounting, only accounting, you're merely keeping careful records while you go out of business. So it's important to have both. Accountability is more than measuring results. You need to develop people's capacity to achieve those results. And extreme pressure without capacity building leads to dysfunctional behavior, and that's what we don't want to Kennedale, and that's why we focus so heavily on professional learning. So here is goal 1, performance objective. We'll prepare all students to meet or exceed grade level expectations. Our strategies include, we have the draft of the district improvement plan in your board book. Those will be finalized and brought back to you next month. Curriculum toolkit, continue to review that, make it better. We have something, now let's make sure that it's the best that it can be. Continue to improve in our MTSS processes and structures. Make sure that we continue the data review and analysis protocols that we have put in place, as well as provide the instructional technology resources and support that our teachers need to use them. Performance objective 2, our students will graduate college, career, and/or military ready. So we have implemented Zello. It is CCMR tracking by student in K through 8, so it starts in kindergarten, so we're able to assess students' interests, students' needs, and really set them up for a path up through high school so that they are able to achieve the CCMR point. We have 9th grade planning meetings to make sure that all of our students have a personal graduation plan. One thing that we're working on this year is targeted CTE course offerings for special populations. So we're looking at, all right, here are all of our seniors, and here are the ones who got the CCMR point. They got an industry-based certification. They did well on an AP test. They earned college credit hours. Who's not getting that? And what is it about that particular population? What needs are we not meeting? So that's something that we're looking at this year, just to see what else. If we're not going to just keep adding courses for the sake of adding courses. If we're going to add a course, we want to make sure it is because it's meeting a specific need. We're looking at enhancing the post-secondary planning processes in special education based on interest inventories. We want to make sure that all of our students have a plan after they graduate. And by determining what our students are interested in, we can help them refine that plan so that it's something that's going to be viable for them. And then increasing opportunities not just to take college readiness exams, but also to prepare for them. We've started that in the past 2 years. We're going to continue to make sure that we continue to refine. Performance objective 3. This performance objective primarily focuses on professional learning that's relevant to individual roles, responsibilities, and population served. If I am a calculus teacher, my needs in terms of professional learning may look different than a kindergarten teacher. And so there are some things that all of us need, and then there are some things that need targeted content, and that's something we're continuing to develop. Those strategies include a common lesson framework so that we're maximizing instructional time, we're making sure that we're making the most of every minute we have with our students. We're monitoring math growth data. We've implemented lost links to monitor language development for our emergent bilingual population, as well as TEKS-aligned instructional resources and assessments. For goal 2, this particular performance objective is related to communication. So we are working on that through monthly newsletters. Some of you may have noticed we have the Wildcat Wire. 1 week, the family letter goes out. Another but a lot of it is different. We do a monthly board newsletter, and then we have an administrative newsletter that goes out once a week, and this is all things for the principals, everything that they need to know. We have started this year parent and community teams. Special ed has done a really great job. Our director of special student services has done a really great job of kicking that off. We have parent and community teams. We're establishing that for each of our populations where they can come and they can meet. We have a protocol. We have all kinds of resources, and that's something that we've just started. So we're in the earliest stages, but we're really excited about that. We're adding additional resources and support for English learners. We have enhanced programming in early childhood special populations, as well as a pre-K transition program. Objective 2 is extracurricular, co-curricular. Mr. G really touched on that when he was going over the scorecard. But extracurricular advising is also included in individual counselor meetings, as well as campus-based opportunities that are offered at every grade level. This piece has to do with community engagement and offering opportunities for learning to happen outside of school. So we've implemented, Dr. Devlin has led the charge on implementing the Raising Highly Capable Kids program, which is a 13-week education program for parents. I had the opportunity to attend the initial meeting, and it looks so neat. It's going to be great. And the parents who are participating seem to be really excited about it, which is also great. The counseling department has already started Parent U. They've done a really nice job of recording videos and pushing them out so that if you can't make it on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., you're still able to have access to the content. And then we're working on additional resources and workshops for families and special populations. Our third goal has to do with ensuring a safe and supportive learning community. So our first objective, we're making sure that we're providing programs and services to support the academic, physical, social, and emotional well-being of our students. So we're going to continue classroom guidance lessons, individual counseling, group counseling. We have our Communities in Schools program, which has introduced social workers. We have additional independent social workers, so every campus is served by a social worker. We have increased our efforts in bullying education, reporting, and response protocols. One thing that came out of our needs assessment is that there was some misunderstanding about the difference between bullying and conflict, because conflict is not always bullying. And so that's something that we want to make sure that we're providing education so that that can be distinguished before it escalates. And then something that's new this year that is also something I think is going to have a positive impact is our zones of regulation curriculum in our special education classrooms. Performance objective 2, this is focused primarily on safe and secure conditions for learning and working daily. We have campus safety protocols through our campus safety teams, scenario-based training identified in the campus EOP specific to active threats. So for example, today we did our run through of reunification training, and that was led up by Mr. Sproul, who did a great job there, and our campus behavioral threat assessment teams. Performance objective 3, campus emergency operation plans, making sure that every single campus has a plan in case of all of these different scenarios. The staff and students know what to do. Make sure that our state and federal trainings have been completed. We've moved most of that online so that we can track. One, it gives the staff flexibility to do it on their own time when it's most convenient for them. And also it gives us at the district level the ability to track who's completed what and send friendly reminders to people who haven't. We have the additional trainings and enhanced safety infrastructure across the district. Performance objective 4, this has to do with attracting, recruiting, and effectively inducting the best staff. So if we learned nothing from COVID, but this one thing, what we learned is that you cannot replace teachers with computers. And when I wrote my dissertation in 2014, there were a lot of people that thought you could, and I think that COVID illustrated across the board that there's some magic that happens in the human interaction in the classroom. Certainly technology can enhance it, accelerate learning, but it cannot replace it. So our people matter. So we have worked on offering competitive salaries, enhanced recruitment in key areas, as well as the new teacher induction program, which you heard about the campuses, and we're working on supporting that at the district level as well. So I talked already about the professional development, but how are we supporting capacity building across the board to ensure we're making progress toward our identified goals? And then how are we leveraging our resources to make sure that we're able to build capacity using the strategies that have been discussed. So I mentioned this a bit at the beginning, but what makes a school good and how do you measure it? So when you're measuring success, you have to not only measure what is happening, but why. And there's some confounding factors that we don't have any control over. You can mitigate but not eliminate. We have no control over what happens when a student leaves the classroom and goes home and spends time there before they come back. But it certainly impacts what happens in the classroom, whatever those hours may be. So we can't eliminate every single factor that impacts learning, but we can certainly be proactive in addressing the needs that have already been identified. So with that, Mr. G introduced the scorecard, and these are just some pieces that we're using in terms of metrics. So we have math growth, we're looking at projected proficiency as well as growth annually. We're looking at survey results using Qualtrics for data visualization, which we rolled out last year, so earliest stages, we did not use it to its full capacity, and we're working on that this year. We have power walks. I had the pleasure of, a lot of them left, but I had the pleasure of walking with the assistant principals yesterday. We got to visit 17 classrooms using our new form. We're still working out a few of the bugs, but it was great. We went in, we saw instruction, we talked about instruction, and that is how we grow and learn through dialogue. Program evaluations annually, attendance recovery programs, extracurricular offerings, and participation. Kids don't come to school because they can't wait for Algebra 1. Kids come to school because they can't wait to play basketball or play in the band or see their friends in this club that they're at after school. And so that's one of the things that we can do is we can enrich their learning experience by expanding the extracurricular experiences and then additional parent engagement opportunities. So all of this to say, we must work together to build a community that serves all students. It's not something that any one of us can do by ourselves. And that doesn't happen by accident. We have to be intentional at every level to cultivate this community through collaboration, reflection, and shared learning. And that's something I'm proud to say, finally after 3 years of standing up here and talking to you about these big plans, is that they have been enacted and they are getting better and better every day. And that's all. What questions do you have?
Okay, so.
Wasn't me. It wasn't me talking.
We had 5 principals up here, and there wasn't a single question. And I just brought my water so I could go through my PowerPoint. Okay.
I'm very excited about what I just saw.
Good.
I am. I think I'm anticipating an opportunity to get a readout on showing how all those things were actually
absolutely great things are happening,
implemented, and then after that impact that we saw, what happened.
I've been saying that we put up a lot of systems in place, systems that weren't there before, and so now they're there, and now we're going to be able to start monitoring.
Yes, well, excited about the monitoring. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've heard a lot from all the campuses in the district, and so there's a lot of stuff.
I think we're gonna take a picture now.
All right. Well, we're going to continue on because we'd like to get out of here before tomorrow starts. Let's go to Section 8 is about the items requiring action. So 8A is discuss and consider approval of the resolution to convene the School Health Advisory Council recommendations for abuse prevention instruction.
Ms. Chavez, will you make your way down, and we'll have you kind of come down in case we have questions. But we went through this process last year with the human sexuality curriculum that was mandated by the state and all the regulations that they required and open meetings now with SHAC. Well, now we have to do the same thing with the Title IX and with the, go ahead.
So like you said, it's all still part of the House bill in regards to 1525 and Senate Bill 9. Last year, Dr. Douglas participated with Dr. Boone and myself during our last 3 meetings of SHAC, where we came up with a bunch of suggestions, if you will, of how to move forward with our required instruction for these human sexuality TEKs. We had a program that's we voted on, was presented to you guys approved. It's called Play It Safe. That is just one component of the big umbrella, if you will. That's the human sexuality curriculum. Dr. Boone and I are getting on a conversation. It is hopefully my hope that what we purchased through the Play It Safe already under that umbrella is the actual family violence, human trafficking, all that stuff. So it would just be like an on switch, if you will, is what we're pending for. It would be a much simpler process in the SHAC. We'd still have our 2 required meetings. We'd just talk about, hey, it is already something that we discussed. It's already something that was purchased. If that is the case, we're just going to go ahead and turn on the switch for it. Parents are still required to opt in and opt out. None of that will change. We will just have like 2 short meetings, then bring to you guys the recommendation on if we are going to do it with Play It Safe.
And we're having to basically just go through the same process that we went through last year. And this first part of that process is that you have to adopt a resolution to allow SHAC to basically convene, to sit there and hold those meetings to be able to do that. That's what the resolution is for. It's basically the formalities that we went through last year, and they all have to be in place. By the way, I don't know if y'all know Ms. Chavez, but she is our new lead nurse, and she is doing a phenomenal job. And you know, I want to. Really knocking it out of the park and doing a great job for us. And so that's everybody speaks highly of what she's doing. So very motivated, and I want to keep going because you know you have surpassed expectations. I will say that. So all right, but anyway, it's a formality that we have to do, but the resolution has to be passed. It's the first step in going through this process again. So.
Well, thank you, Ms. Chavez. I appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
So in order to go forward for the resolution, we'll have to entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resolution to convene the District School Health Advisory Council to recommend curriculum materials relating to the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, sex trafficking as presented.
And that is motion by Mr. Glovier.
Second.
And second by Ms. I like that, but I'm going to Ms. Villa-Gomez.
Okay.
That's that. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that passes unanimously.
Can I ask a quick question before Ms. Chavez leaves?
Okay.
Yes?
Please. I'm not sure if you know the data, but just out of curiosity, if not, maybe just get back to us. I know that Play It Safe is kind of like currently, right now, I think it just ended with the opt-in process. Do you know what percentage have opted in, or what is that kind of looking at with this new opt-in procedure?
That part I do not know. From a parental standpoint, today, Nurse Katie participated in the reunification event. She has a daughter who she actually just had to opt in into the video, so the daughter was texting her saying, "You opted me into this classroom." There's a whole bunch of other students, is what she said, that have been opted in. So I don't have the particular number of data, and I can get that back to you. But from the comment, there was a bunch of students who were opted into that specific curriculum piece that we had today. So.
Perfect, yeah. If you could get the numbers, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, great.
Thank you.
All right, and so that we have since we just passed that resolution, I will read the resolution. Okay, whereas Section 28.004 Q-1 of the Texas Educational Code requires the Board of Trustees to adopt a resolution convening the local school health advisory council, SHAC, for the purpose of making recommendations regarding curriculum materials for the district's instruction relating to the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and sex trafficking. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Kennedale Independent School District hereby calls for the convening of the district SHAC to, number one, hold at least 2 public hearings on the curriculum materials before adopting recommendations to present to the board. 2, recommend curriculum materials that comply with the instruction content requirements in law, are suitable for the subject and grade level for which the materials are intended, and are reviewed by academic experts in the subject and grade level for which the materials are intended. 3rd, present the SHAC's recommendation to the board at a public meeting by the month following the SHAC's recommendations adoptions, and adopted this 27th day of October 2022 by the Kennedale Independent School District. And we will sign that at the end of this meeting. All right. Okay, thank you all. Okay, so we'll now go to 8B, discuss and consider approval of the additional services agreement with Reliance Architecture for the ball field concession and restroom building project.
Okay, so we basically, at the last meeting, agreed on Reliance is moving forward with them for the design of the concession stand at the ballpark. You also moved forward with basically combining that with the softball. So the fee for that is the contract, and then basically we had a contract with them for the previous, for the secure vegetables that they were working on. But this is the addendum to that, and this is the chart, the contract for that. For the concession stand, I'll get it right. So for adding the concession stand to it.
Okay, so we had a contract for the secure vegetables, and this amount is going to be above the amount that, that you already authorized.
Fees, yeah.
Okay.
It's also covered by insurance, isn't it?
Should be, yes.
All right.
The entire amount? We don't know that, right?
It should be. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
It's with their fees are usually standard for throughout the industry. So
okay.
This is what we got the information on in the last meeting where we decided which one that we went, and we discussed the fact that it was covered.
I just wanted to reiterate.
Okay.
I was pretty sure it was.
All right. So yes.
I think those are the best type of expenditures, are the ones that are covered by insurance or some other type of source.
And this is not just the architects; it's also the engineering. It's combined. So
okay.
Sorry.
Architect.
I left out the engineering.
Architect and engineering. Okay. Does anyone have any additional questions regarding that? I know we talked about it, you know, ad nauseum last meeting. Okay. So I'll entertain a motion regarding that.
I'll make a motion to approve the additional services agreement with Reliance Architecture for the scope of additional services for the ball field concessions and restroom.
Motion by Ms. I'm sorry, Ms. Griffin, I cut you off, didn't I?
It's okay, no problem.
Motion by Ms. Gomez.
Second.
And Mr. Glover, you got it in a second. All right. All in favor?
Competition.
Yeah, I know.
Aye.
All in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstains? No? Okay, great. And that passes unanimously. All right, so we'll now do section 9, personnel, Mr. G.
And we're going to want to go to closed session. We're going to need to go into closed session.
Okay. All right. So.
That at the end. We're doing that at the end. We're doing it now.
Well, I mean, there's only a few things left after that, but nothing anybody really needs to be here for.
Okay.
I don't think, so.
All right. So then the closed session will, on matter concerning personnel. Time now is 8:12 p.m. We will enter in closed session per Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074. All right. And we will enter closed session at 8:13.
Thank you all. And I'm going to have Ms. King and Ms. Dr. stay.
We're returning from closed session at 9:54 p.m. Okay, next we will go to section 10, which is superintendent's report. Mr. G.
I really don't want to read through this. I mean, we're tired. And so, I mean, you have the latest attendance and enrollments there. So, and then you have the district newsletter, which I spoke about before.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the stories that are being created. And that's pretty much my report.
Yeah, that is very detailed. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next is discussion regarding upcoming meetings. So next month, the month of November.
I think we're scheduled the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes, our normal scheduled meeting is on the 17th.
Yes.
And does that date look okay for everybody?
Yes.
1 second.
Yeah, because we ain't meeting on Thanksgiving.
17th? Awesome.
Absolutely.
1 second, please.
I'm having surgery on the 23rd. So.
Yep, I'm good. November 17th at 6 o'clock. Okay, and then there was a question regarding open cafeteria on campuses.
Can we open them again?
I requested for this to be on the agenda because I feel like now that we're resuming normal activity and we have so many things even earlier tonight mentioned where families are coming into campuses even during the school day, like the literacy engagement thing for the early learning students, where they had the donuts that Ms. Spitzer was talking about and all the different things. I think it would be a very welcome re-emerging activity to bring back. I know a lot of people have been anxiously awaiting to do that, parents, grandparents, family members. So I would love to see open cafeteria come back to the elementary campuses. I think it would help with a lot of engagement and things.
Address the security, and when we had COVID, we shut everything down and started coming back. But then that's in the middle of the day during the school day, so security was the concern and why we were keeping it closed. So, if y'all are in favor of that as opposed to security, then...
Well, no, it's still security. They still have to go through the front office. I went to Delaney today. I still had to go to the front office. They still ask for my ID. Yeah. I mean, as long as
I actually really don't appreciate you saying if we're in favor of open cafeteria versus security, because I don't know that that's a fair...
Okay, sorry.
And that's kind of saying we don't trust our people in our front offices to do their job.
I think if people have gone through the Raptor Fast Pass process, I mean, isn't that why we have that?
That could be the stipulation.
Well, then it always has been that they check in and they get a badge, and so, and if it's a concern about...
I've never had the opportunity.
So I don't have a problem with allowing a campus to, if they want to do that, come up with I don't know, a system recommendation? A schedule, yes. Or something like that?
So the campus still has to have an event for open cafeteria. It's not just anytime they want?
No, it's in the past, it was only the elementaries, and it would be maybe once a month or something.
And they would announce it, and you wouldn't even get that many people, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't
well, some days you would, but some days you wouldn't, so.
And it was very nice.
It could be staggered if needed, but I'm just putting it out there in case anyone else feels the same way. And
so is there a way that you could just maybe go to the 2 elementary principals and see, is there a way that they could come up with a schedule that they feel would balance allowing some parents to come in some controlled, modified fashion, days, times, whatever.
Whatever they feel is appropriate.
Would be a balance between, we still have the security, people still have to check in, they still have to use their IDs, but yet still allow some.
Well, we stagger because not everybody has lunch at the same time.
Correct.
Well, in the past, and this is where I think, forgive me for, but they were overrun, with parents, grandparents, there was so many people that, it was overwhelming, and it did present some problems. So
I think parents have learned to wait outside of the doors now. I haven't been there in both situations. Parents have learned how to wait outside Like I said, I was there this morning and it was pretty cool because I walked in and these parents were outside and they actually stayed there and I was like, oh wow. Like parents have learned, so it wouldn't be that hard to say, okay, you know, just 2 at a time while we get you in and get your badge. Or if you're gonna come, do the fast pass like we do when we go for an assembly. The teachers send it out. It's up to the parent to decide, well, do I wanna go? Well, then I'm gonna do my fast pass.
I'm sure our principals can figure out.
I feel, based because there are still a lot of parents who feel differently, that it's overreach for us to say, yes, it's all opened up, but I think asking the principals to take a look and see if they can do that.
Definitely, but that's
And
one of the
how
things
they
we're
want to
talking
do
about,
it, because-
engaging your families. One of the things that, especially at elementary school level, that they complain about is that they're not coming to the school.
So
They're not being welcomed into the school.
So,
Yeah, I think
My
the
only
other-
comment-
There's another consideration to look at is that there may be families that aren't comfortable with a bunch of adults being around their kids in the cafeteria. Yeah, I don't know how that factors into it.
There is a specific area only where they sit them, and you're not allowed. So if I go there with my son to see my kids,
You're
I'm
on
not
one
allowed.
half of the
You're in one
cafeteria.
half of the
You're not with
cafeteria.
other kids.
You're not allowed to be with other kids, and it was very, very well. You had
and that's
Laura
why,
Wells there.
and that's what my suggestion was about, you know, giving it to the principal, letting them,
Yeah.
you know, feel that through. You had a,
Ms. Moody, you wanna
I
say
do, my
something?
comment is that it not be required.
No,
That
it's not
it would be-
required.
I know, but the pressure is, you get to do it at this campus and you don't get to do it at that. So if they choose to do it, that's fine. And if they choose not to do it, that's fine as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't see.
That's my only comment.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Because you
communicate
can
that
figure out a
them,
way to
but
make
I
it
like
work.
that.
But,
Option.
right, have
Yeah.
the freedom
I
to
don't see our
decide.
principals.
Even if
Not
it's
wanting
one
to.
grade level a day or something,
Right.
so it's not
Yeah.
a day of
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah, so if they like to, they
Yeah.
can, they come over
That-
with
yeah,
the,
right.
or the option to do. I'm good with that. I don't see any problem with
I'm okay with it.
that. Okay. Awesome.
Raptor fast pass.
I think it
Okay.
helps the students if we do it.
It does,
All right, great.
and it helps your parents,
Do we
All
have to
right.
your
vote on that?
volunteers.
Okay, so, that is 11B. Thank you, Ms. Vigomez, for bringing it up and having it put on the agenda. Okay.
That brings us to,
That brings us to the adjournment. I will entertain any motion for adjournment.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir, Ms.
I motion that we adjourn this meeting immediately.
Thank you,
Post
Mr.
haste.
Glovier. And that
Second.
motion,
Second.
we stand adjourned.